Alright boys, a little bit of a sad day here for the Integra. We've got the B20 VTEC all assembled, but there's just one missing piece. We are missing this poor intake cam cap. Don't know where it's at. The guy who sold me this engine is going to hopefully look for it soon, but it's no big deal. We have plenty of other parts to get this Integra rolling, just like the old B20 head here that we can still use. It's perfectly good. I went ahead and bought a new gasket set for it. We went with something a little bit cheaper, just so we can get this Integra rolling. But this came with basically everything we're gonna need. The biggest thing with this that kind of sucks is that we're going to basically be throwing away a brand new B20 VTEC head gasket, because once they're clamped down, you can't really reuse them. I'm sure I could get away with it, but at this point, I think the plan is to just skip the B20 VTEC for now until he can potentially find that cam cap, and wait to do VTEC with the LS or the B18 that's already in there. Might as well do that, since I won't need to sleeve the block or anything crazy like I would with this if I wanted it to go like pretty high horsepower. So yeah, we're gonna keep it naturally, or not naturally aspirated. We're still gonna be boosting the B20, as you can see the turbo and all that stuff up there. We're still gonna be doing that, but for now, just no VTEC pretty much. So it's gonna hopefully be a drop-in motor. Theoretically, not gonna do the injectors and the map sensor just yet, because I don't have a way of tuning the car yet. I'm thinking I'm just going to go through fearable.net. He's been doing it for years and years at this point, so he's probably going to be the go-to. But anyways, so in this video, we're going to be uninstalling the VTEC head from the non-VTEC block and putting the non-VTEC head back on the VTEC block. Probably between multiple days, because it's not just going to be a simple bolt on. I still need to clean off the old gasket material from the old head and probably clean the surface of it as well, and just to make sure everything's in working order and won't leak, so that way we have less things to deal with when it comes time to turbo the car. But before we can work on this engine, I'm going to go ahead and get this beast out of here. Now we have plenty of room to work with. I guess let's begin the teardown from this B20 VTEC with hopes and dreams. I do want to figure out a way to plug the hose here, or some way, because I would like to keep this sandwich adapter for the B20 VTEC here. Let me move it into the light. Alright, so time to start the teardown of this poor, unfortunate B20 VTEC. I was hoping that there would be a way for me to plug this hose that would normally go to the head, or I guess it'd be right here, just so that I can keep the sandwich plate, since it already has a bung for the turbo feed. But it doesn't look like I'll be able to do that. I don't have a fitting to go over this that will just block it off. So we're just gonna have to remove this entirely, this whole thing, and maybe use the oil pressure sensor hole instead. Maybe just run a line off of that and go from there. But we're thinking too far ahead. We still gotta go ahead and disassemble the B20 VTEC and then reassemble and clean the non-VTEC. Boo. Let's get started. Yeah. There she is, boys. Oh man, all this effort for nothing. 2 dowel pins. You don't want to lose these. These are LS or B20 VTEC specific, and they are very important. Put these in the bag with everything else, all the cam caps and whatnot. Bye VTEC. It was nice knowing you. What really sucks about all of this is the head gasket is pretty much unusable since we already clamped it down. I mean, I'm gonna hold on to it just in case, but usually when they're clamped, they're done, because when they're clamped is how they seal. So it'll never be the same again. Who knows? I might reuse it. We'll see. But as far as like I said, the plan is not even to VTEC swap the B20. We're gonna go ahead and just VTEC swap the B18 that's in the car currently, and just keep this one non-VTEC but with a big old turbo on it. Now, one thing I am curious about is if these studs can be reused without VTEC, or if they have to be VTEC. No, it's not even close, guys. Yeah, not even close. So that sucks. These are not going to be able, we're not going to be able to reuse these ARP bolts for now. They are way too long. So at this point, we're just going to have to reuse the stock bolts that are torque to yield from the factory, which is okay. You can get away with this normally with a non-boosted engine, but at this point we really just need to get the TEG running again so that we have another car. I don't like having vehicles on my property that don't move, so really at this point we just need an engine up and running for the TEG so we can swap it and then boost, worry about boosty boy stuff later. I'm sure these will be fine for I'm sure these will be fine for the time being though. Good thing we held on to these. All right, boys, we got the B20 back to a short block. Unfortunately, this is not how I wanted to see this engine today, but it is what it is. That cam cap is very important, and we can't do anything with the head without it. So either way, we are stuck waiting for the seller to try to find the cam cap. If he even has it, who knows? But if not, then I'm out a bunch of money on the head. You know, it is what it is. I guess I counted them wrong, but either way, now we need to start re-prepping the old head to go back onto the short block. And we're going to need to clean up all these gaskets and all that stuff. So let's do that now. All right, boys, here's the non-VTEC motor, or head rather. Got to make sure all these little cam followers are, these rocker arms are in place when we go to install the cams. It's going to be important. But really, the only prep that, oh, wow, I just realized one very unfortunate thing I'm going to have to do is flip this over and check the surface to make sure the surface is clean. I might just go ahead and honestly, I might install the cams first to hold all of this in place so that it doesn't all come flying out, because you want to keep these in their exact spot. Other than the reinstalling the cams and checking the surface on the deck surface of the head, all we're really gonna have to do is that, and then we're gonna need to clean this old intake manifold gasket out, which sucks because these are paper and they suck. They're gonna make a mess and be a pain to clean up completely. All right, boys, an eternity later, we finally got the intake manifold surface as clean as I'm possibly gonna get it in a reasonable amount of time. I mean, it looks like somebody was sharpening their pencil over here. Me trying to get all the nooks and crannies out with my little razor blades, scoring the surface all up. But guys, this should be good enough to not leak, which is all we need. Again, this is gonna be just like, at this point, the whole build is kind of scuffed. This engine is just, we need something in the Integra like ASAP. So that's what this engine is. It's a temporary thing until we can get the B18 that's in it built and ready for proper boost. All right, boys, here we are. The very next day, I have some great news about the Integra. It turns out the guy who sold me the P72 GSR head did end up finding that missing cam cap. Thankfully, That's huge news, good all around, but I'm still sticking with the plan of using the non-VTEC head for now, just to keep things simple. I know this has kind of gotten complicated already, but gonna cut my losses with that head gasket and just build the B18 that's in the Integra. Let me go ahead and open the garage. Yeah, we're just going to end up building the... Alright, so what I was trying to say, instead of building the B18 or B20 that has known to have sleeve issues, I'm just going to build the B18 that's already in here. It's a B1, so the cylinder wall should be a little bit more appropriately thick for 400 or 500 horsepower. So can't wait to rip this damn thing out already. It's been a journey just trying to get the B20 running. All of these hoops I'm having to jump through. I'm letting the rest of this gasket material soak in some WD-40 so I can go ahead and scrape it off and get the head ready for the new intake manifold. And I'm gonna go ahead and flip this thing over, clean the surface, the deck surface of the head, and re-clean for the 1 billionth time the surface for the deck surface of the block as well. This should just need a nice little wipe down, and go ahead and start slapping everything back together. This is the GSR head in here. It's not going anywhere, but it is fragile. But yeah, so we're still going to be making some progress. Hopefully by this weekend, we will begin the fun stuff of... Hold on. The fun stuff of tearing out the B18 that's in here now. I haven't done an engine swap on one of these old Hondas. I did do an engine swap kind of on the S2000. I put a built motor in that, so shouldn't be too much more difficult than this. I know this is front wheel drive. The transmission's going to have to come out also, kind of like as a unit. The hood might also need to come off, probably, but not worried about it. I'm looking forward to it. But anyways, let's start knocking out the rest of this B20 stuff. Alright boys, here is my haphazard job cleaning off the intake manifold gasket surface area, whatever you want to call it. It's not perfect, as you can see, but this took a very long time to get to. This gasket is pretty thick anyway. It shouldn't leak. And if it does, who cares? I literally just need a car up and running at this point. So don't bring your car to me. This is what you're going to get from me. No, I'm just kidding. I promise I won't do this when it comes time to build the B18 LS-VTEC for power. I won't half-ass a job like this. But now, time to flip this thing over. I want to go ahead and set these rocker arms all down somewhere. Don't want to mix them up. I want to keep them all in the same spot. I'm sure I can get away with mixing and matching them, but don't want to do it. So, give me a sec. All right, we got all the rocker arms out of the head, so we should be okay to flip this thing over. I'm gonna go ahead and clean this off too. Don't want any debris getting in there. All right, here's what we are working with here, boys. I got the head kind of on its side. Really not looking bad. I might need to get out, not the wire brush, but maybe the Scotch-Brite again and kind of go over this, just hit this one more time. There's some leftover gasket material in between the cylinders and stuff that probably want to get ahead and take off of this, but yeah, we are getting a lot closer to having the B20 reassembled and running. The silver lining in all of this is I got to kind of tear the engine down and see exactly what we're working with. We know at least now that it's a pretty good engine, or at least it looks pretty good from what I can see. Obviously, I didn't do a deep dive and take the thing all apart, and time will tell if it's a good engine or not, but as far as what I can see for now, everything's looking pretty good, like a low mileage-ish B20, which is great. We are still going to be boosting it, like I will keep saying, I am still going to be boosting it. Promise, it will be getting boosted. Just no VTEC this time around. That's going to be saved for phase 2. So stick around if you guys want to see that. But yeah, let's go ahead and clean this off and get it installed back onto the block, and I'll go ahead and end this video once we're done. All right, boys, the surface of the head cleaned up pretty nice. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than it was before. It is completely smooth to the touch, which is what I was going for. There's still going to be some marks from the old gasket, but only so much I could do. Again, don't do what I'm doing. If you care about your car, get it done right. Take it to a machine shop. This is just me being a hack because I need a car running. I don't like having a car down in my driveway, so this is just a temporary thing. I just need it to last long enough to get that B18 out of there and boosted properly with complete machining, pistons, rods, everything, the whole nine. That thing is going to be a beast, but got to start somewhere, and this is somewhere. Good enough for me. I'm going to go clean the block up now and get the head and block reintroduced to each other. They should be fairly familiar with each other just with a new head gasket. I hope I ordered the right one. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and remate the head and block, and that's going to be it for the video. This is already nice and clean. I just need to kind of give it a wipe down, make sure it's dry. Really, there shouldn't be any debris on this at all because I have cleaned this thing like 100 times just to triple and quadruple make sure that we shouldn't have any head gasket issues for at least the first 5 minutes. You know, maybe we could get 6 minutes and I'd be happy. But yeah, this is just kind of got oil all over it from the from putting the assembly lube on the cams. They kind of just seeped down. But it is what it is. This is all pretty clean already, so not stressed. Just letting y'all know, if you run into a mechanic who says they're gonna treat their car like it's their own, run, because this is exactly what they mean. They're gonna do the bare minimum just to get it just good enough, and sometimes we get lucky and it'll last indefinitely, and I guess we'll find out what's gonna happen with this B20. So stay tuned for that. are specific. Oh crap. Cool. Learned something new today. So in case anyone didn't know, there are two longer head bolts that go in the middle. As you can see, they're way longer. Kind of cool. Didn't know that. Now I see why B20 VTEC head bolts or head studs from ARP don't work on. I gotta clean that. That's crazy. I didn't know that. Don't know why it took me this long to do that. Don't copy what I'm doing, please. All right, that's the first torque sequence. Time to move up to about 60. There we go, about 60 to 65, somewhere in there. All right, boys, the B20 non-VTEC is sorta, kinda, mostly back together now. Got to put the rocker arms back in place. Got to put the rocker arms back in place. Then kind of just, you know, the accessories, oil filter, AC compressor. I have a brand new AC compressor, but I think there's a bracket that I'm going to need to take off of the Integra before I can install that. And I might just do that while it's in the car. It doesn't look too hard to do. But yeah, we have made a ton of progress in the past 2 days getting this, or I guess really not really progress if, it's not really progress if I made a mistake and didn't take my time doing this. But it is what it is. We have an engine sort of back together. Should last long enough to give us time to boost it. To build and boost the V18, and then we're good. So phase 2 of VTEC is coming this year, and it's gonna be great. But for now, no VTEC. And my reasoning behind the whole no VTEC thing is I do plan on at least trying to tune the thing myself. I will be getting a base map from fearable.net, and he's gonna do basically all the heavy lifting. I would like to get in there and tweak things how I want it, and I would much rather blow a non-VTEC engine rather than having the VTEC head on there and having a piston come up and slap the head or something, or overheat it and warp it or whatever. The VTEC is very valuable nowadays, especially on the B series. It's not cheap like everyone thinks it is anymore. Non-VTEC stuff is a dime a dozen, but VTEC stuff is not. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for this one. Next video is going to be just buttoning it up, cams, accessories, valve cover, and voila, we'll have a B20 back assembled, one that should have never been disassembled, but it is what it is. We learned our lesson. That's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching, guys. I will catch you guys in the next one.